There is always an easier, more simple way. I've said it a million times and I will keep saying it until I finally remember it myself. But the way that you show up in one area of your life, you show up in all areas of your life. And with my clients, the way that I show up is I come through as their simplification knight in shining armor. For them, I crush it at cleaning up duplicative systems, wasted money, and processes that make no sense. I help them figure out faster, easier, more impactful ways to run their business, do their marketing, keep their clients in love and obsessed with them. But when it comes to me, it's a classic case of the shoemaker having no shoes. I know what I should be doing, but that doesn't mean that I'm necessarily doing it all the time. So I'm trying to be better at it. And the reason I started this whole episode with that train of thought about showing up in one area of your life is the way that you show up in all areas of your life is because even though I'm so good at it when it comes to my clients and I put that hat on and I'm like, this is now me, this is who I am, in my own life, I love to overcomplicate things, even though I actually hate to overcomplicate things, but it's unintentional. And I always catch myself doing it. And then I'm like, you did it again. And I just try to remind myself of it doesn't have to be this way. But it literally hit me in the face yesterday. And it feels like extra crazy timing because I've been having so many conversations with so many of my clients about exactly this. The thought of it doesn't have to be this hard, it can be more simple. But like, why isn't it? Why can't I figure it out? And I love it from a marketing standpoint. For me, it feels like a puzzle. But my real life example, and then we can get into it a little bit more. So I traveled a lot last year and I needed to get new, like literal payment systems because the things that we use here, like Venmo, like Zelle, they just don't work internationally. So if I was trying to send my friends a few dollars, well, not dollars, but if I wanted to send them some money to cover a drink or a dinner or something like that, my Zelle and Venmo just didn't exist outside of the US. So I had to download this thing called Revolut for anyone who's familiar with it. It actually has not much to do with the story. Throwing it in because I also love detail. So what had happened was I paid someone for something and then I needed to get that money back. And it was like a big chunk of money, like literally thousands of dollars that I was getting back. And because it was from a Brit, they wanted to do a bank transfer, which again, we just don't do here. And anytime anyone would be like, it's all right, just transfer it to me, I would be like, I can't. And it would be so frustrating for so many reasons. But that it kind of became the bane of my existence. So fast forward to getting this money back, and they're like, we'll just bank transfer it to you. And I was like, please don't. Like, please, let's do anything else. So I spent weeks, like nearly a month, trying to figure out all these like roundabout band-aid solutions. I was like, what if instead of you sending it to me, you send it to my friend over here? They have a British bank account, and then I'll just get them to like PayPal me. So they were like, okay, fine. So it went to someone else, and then PayPal like was just being all sorts of complicated and wanted to take so much of my money out in fees where I was like, that's not happening. And I was just going insane this whole time because I was like, this is my money. Like, why is it got to be so complicated? And as I was going through it, I was just kind of trying to remind myself of like, it always works out. There's always a simple solution. When you're worked up, things don't work out. Like when we can calm down and remember that there always is a more simple way to do something, it just kind of falls into place. So I was literally like coaching myself through it, trying to remind myself that like, if I can just relax and trust that there's an easier way, there's got to be an easier way. And it wasn't like I trusted and relaxed and 5 minutes later I thought of a solution. No, like it still took me about a month to figure it out. But all of a sudden it hit me after a month of just banging my head against the wall where I had downloaded Revolut, which for those of you who don't know, again, it doesn't have that much to do with the story, but in case you like detail like me, you can do bank transfers even if you don't have a British bank. And this app had just been sitting on my phone not being used because I don't really have use for it in my day to day, so I just wasn't thinking about it. So after a month of this frenetic energy and a little bit of this like, why is this happening? Why does everything have to be so hard? Which we all fall into. And like, I love myself a good pity party every now and again. I finally did have that light bulb moment of like, I think I can use Revolut for this. And when I tell you, it took 5 minutes for me to receive the money into my Revolut account and then forward it on to my Bank of America account after, like I've said, a month of me just losing my mind and like not even wanting to look at it or deal with it, which as a business owner, does that sound familiar? Do you have any systems or processes or anything like that that is coming to mind as I walk through this example? But yeah, so while this might unintentionally sound like an infomercial for Revolut, I promise you it's not. What it really represents is that deeper kind of headbanging that we all do of like, I know it has to be easier than this. Like, I know it shouldn't be this hard. I know my team shouldn't be doing all of this. Like, why are we all just like running around like chickens with our heads cut off? Like, clients come to me all the time because they can't see the forest through the trees, but they know that things aren't working for them. They know that they're super stressed. Their team is super stressed. They know that they're ready to throw their computer against a wall. I've also had those moments too, where either I've been on the agency side being like, it's okay, like let's just take a break. Let's come back to this tomorrow. And I've also been on like the client side where I'm like, no, I'm going to throw my computer against the wall. So like, I get it. I totally get it. But also they come to me because they hope that there's an easier way and they have to believe that there's an easier way, but they don't know what it is. And so now as someone who has been in the marketing world for over a decade, um, well over a decade, I guess we could say at this point, because who's been running a digital marketing agency for 7 years, I can tell you that there always is a simpler, easier way when it comes to your marketing, when it comes to your business, when it comes to your processes, when it comes to your teams. For example, let's use a real world marketing example. Let's use this podcast right now, because when I sat back down to start re-recording Entrepreneur Shift, I went straight back into the way that I had done it the first time around. So it was super manual. I was recording in one place. I was editing another place. I was editing the video clips over here. I was editing the audio files over there. I was then doing the social media. When I like first did it, I like also had team members and support, but because I haven't done it in a while, I haven't hired for that again. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this again. I'm going to figure it out. And then I was talking to one of my coaches because I was remembering why I hated doing this podcast. Like I liked talking, but I hated everything that came after it. And she turned me on to Riverside and I hadn't heard about it. Like I'm pretty sure it didn't exist when I first created Entrepreneurship, but now I'm literally done editing in minutes. Like it's all done for you kind of. And immediately I have the audio files, the video file, the transcript, the show notes, the social clips all ready to go. I don't have to think about it. And then also just because this was the bane of my existence and something that drove me crazy was I say a lot. It's something that I'm actively working on. And I didn't want people to know that I say so much. And so I would go through, or at the time I would have Amanda go through and be like, get every out of there, unless you literally cannot get every out of there. And I think there's value of like, if that's how you speak, leave it in. But like now there's even like a little thing. I just press a button that says, get rid of the filler words. All my ums are gone, or most of my ums are gone. And so the reason that I say all this and I'm giving these real world examples and I'm intentionally sitting down and talking to you about this and through this and kind of letting you know what's up with me is because I know if that this is coming up for me and it's really coming up for me in every area of my business and particularly at the start of the new year where you're like, okay, like let's go, let's do this. And you want to do all the things. And then you're like, wait, doing all the things is a lot. And I'm already like stressed and strained from everything else going on. I just know that if it's coming up for me, it's probably coming up for some of you listening right now. So whether it's your business, whether it's your life, or anything else in between, this is just kind of your friendly reminder to take a beat, take a breath, remind yourself that there always is an easier way. And then also, just if we want to be real crazy and nerdy and talk neuroscience for a second, if you start to say, there is an easier way. I know there's an easier way. There's a simpler way to do it. As you start to say that, and as you allow yourself to literally believe that, your reticular activating system starts to kick in and your brain's going to start scanning for where is the easier way because it's literally designed to prove you right. So if you tell yourself there's an easier way, your brain's going to be on your side, on your team, help you figure out the easier way. So for anyone else who like used to love Bill and I, that one's for you because I think it's really cool. But I digress as per usual. So, all that to say, whether it's cool new tools like Riverside or all the AI content creation apps that are out there now, or anything else that you can think of, like I'm literally in my head just thinking of like a gazillion apps that I could start listing off, but it'd make no sense without the context and examples and all that stuff. Just know that there is a stupid simple solution out there for whatever your biggest pain in your butt is, particularly if it comes to your marketing or your business. I can promise you that. And also, I can promise you that if you can't figure it out, I'm here to help you. So just leaving that there for now. But I wanted to sit down. I wanted to take a beat. I wanted to take a breath. I wanted to level with you guys and kind of let you in on where I am, what's going on, what's coming up, and how I'm working through it because sometimes that's really helpful for other people to be like, I didn't even think about it like that, or I didn't know about that solution until she just kind of mentioned it in passing or whatever the case may be. If this was helpful though, if this topic is helpful, we could take it further. Like I would love to know if there are specific channels, specific issues, specific things that you're just like this is driving me crazy. Practically, how can we walk through this? I'm happy to turn these into super practical, super tangible breakdowns for channels, I don't know, tools, whatever the case may be. Let me know. We could do it in the future. But for right now, in the interim, Google and YouTube are your best friends. I guess technically OpenAI sources too. So whether you're using Chat, GPT, Claude, Gemini, any of those two, also your best friends. But you've got this. There is a simple way. You're going to figure it out. And not only is it going to be simpler, but it's going to give you so much more. It's going to unlock that like, just release that mental load that you're kind of and frustration that you're dealing with right now. And not only does it get to be simpler, it gets to be more breathy. It gets to be more fun. You get to have more spaciousness in your day. You and your team get to have more fun and focus on serving your clients and doing an incredible job. So when we allow ourselves to make it simple, when we allow ourselves to pull back on the dumb things and streamline and simplify, that's when all of this gets to become more fun. That's when the growth becomes more easy. And that's when things just kind of quote unquote magically fall into place. So until next time.